It's not your company anymore. Welcome back to Fog Wrestling. It's your AEW Dynamite review. What did John Moxley mean by that? Well, let's debunk it. I've got a feeling there's probably going to be about a million vids made on this in the coming weeks and months, but I'm feeling a Shane McMahon NWO style takeover with John Moxley as the leader and Darby Allin as his VP, so to speak, because John Moxley kicked off this show with Tony Schiavone. He said he's got a few things he wants to speak to about Darby Allin with. He won't be a hard guy to find. He then went to leave. Tony Schiavone's like, right, it was great hearing Moxley after 2 months away. Moxley then gets in Tony Schiavone's face and says, it's going to take some time for people to understand, but it's not your company anymore. Now, this does echo Tony Schiavone's comments on the penultimate episode of Nitro. He said something similar to this, and then, of course, what happened the next week? A small thing by Shane McMahon coming out on Nitro as Raw was on the air as well, and he announced that he owned WCW. So are we going to see next week potentially Shane McMahon taking over this company here? I think it would be great, honestly. Like, as it would be, these marks would pretend that it would be better than the Invasion and the Alliance of 2001, right? It's just not going to be. Yeah, did we get the NWO, Sting, Goldberg? No, we didn't, right? But give me Stone Cold Steve Austin leading a band of jobbers over John Moxley and Darby Allin every day of the week. But yeah, I welcome Shane McMahon in AEW. Now, there's no proof to this, but I would say I'm about 75% sure that this is going to be some form of takeover storyline with Shane McMahon at the helm of it. This will not lead to nothing. I think it's one last throw at the dice at AEW to try and get back into 800k, anywhere close to a million, because they've been so far away for ages. But you know what? This was a pretty intriguing way to open the show. It was left rather open. The commentators were like, "What's going on?" I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Who knows? Mark Briscoe then had a promo after it, and it's like you go for this like Shane McMahon, John Moxley takeover sort of thing. Take a Mark Briscoe promo. My brother. My brother. Testify. Up next. I'm not talking about that seg. Who cares? Mark Briscoe. Honestly. Hangman Adam Page defeated Tomohiro Ishii. Buckshot Lariat. 1, 2, 3. Just a dead match to kick off the show. Did nothing for me. Out comes Swerve. Talking about, whose house is this going to be? It's my house. I'm going to always be referred to as a world champion. It's like, well done, Swerve, mate. The guy you're feuding with here, Hangman's also a former world champion. Oh, I'm always going to be referred to as a former world... Why does he think that is some sort of flex that he's going to be referred to as a former world champion? That means you've lost the belt. Like, how weak does that... Imagine Austin coming out the night after he loses a belt. He's like, well, you know what, guys? At least I'm always going to be referred to as a former world champion. No, he wanted it back. So it's going to set up a feud between these two. Who really cares? Jamie Hayter took on Harley Cameron. Awful ring attire, gear. What is this? It's like the truth for GTA San Andreas if he was a woman and he had to perform wrestling moves. Just all these hippie colours, man. Looks absolutely horrendous, but Jamie Hayter wins. We then saw a video package of MJF and Will Ospreay. Out comes MJF. He says he's suffering from it was like an invertebrae fracture, something along those lines, due to the move getting done. And he says, if Daniel Garcia ever shows his face in AEW, I will end his life. As he says that, Danny Garcia goes out to start brawling. Danny Garcia then says, ruining MJF's life is my fetish. And at All Out, you've got me. MJF versus Garcia in a week and a half. Again, how much of a mess is that? All In was literally on Saturday there, or was it Sunday? Can't even remember, right? Doesn't really matter. And here we've got All Out happening, like 2 weeks, 13 days later? What? Why? I mean, AEW doesn't do that many pay-per-views a year, so why do two within 2 weeks? That's honestly, that is baffling. We then got a video package of Ricochet. It's his first day here of his journey in AEW, a bit of a Wembley flog sort of thing. We had the Learning Tree and Roderick Strong taking on the Mongo Nation, and Hook, just 8 guys getting involved here. Hook wins. Strong doesn't see, well, the ref doesn't see Strong getting his foot on the bottom rope. Jericho just looking very sloppy here. I mean, I think Big Bill should be getting pushed as a main offender in this company. I enjoyed his WWE run till he injured his leg, and then he kind of just forgotten about. But obviously with Enzo, that's probably the main reason he got forgotten about. But I enjoy Big Bill. I think Big Bill's a pretty fun wrestler, and he can cut decent promos, and I think he's been pretty good in the learning tree with Jericho. But is what it is. After the match, Undisputed Kingdom batter Hook, and then they hold up the FTW title. So is that the next feud for that? Who really cares? Mercedes Moné cuts a promo backstage, and then I say Cassidy's like, yeah, I want you. And then Okada's like, sayonara, bitches. What was that? What was this segment? Jesus Christ, who knows? Then Mariah May turns up. She's like, yeah, I know this tamarind is pronounced champagne, but it should be renamed flat, stale, piss, warm beer. Buries all the women in the crowd. Oh, you're used to sticking things down your throats, she says. And then throws the jobber or robe towards the announce table. Shows off the new AEW's Women's Championship. Brilliant. Then the grizzled young veterans come out. They send a message to the entire AEW tag division, including the Bucks. When you see the GIV, grit your teeth. See ya soon, lads. Haha. Then we saw highlights of the G1 Classic. Fell asleep during this. The G1 fucking Classic. Why? You know, the most relevant thing about the G1 Classic is that in the past couple of days, Daniel Bryan came out and said that Vince McMahon said if he re-signed with WWE, he was going to let him do the G1 Classic. That's as big as the G1 Classic will ever get. Fucking Vince McMahon talking about it. We then had Ricochet taking on Kyle Fletcher with Don Callis. Thought Ricochet was that. He did this move off the top rope, right? And I actually hate this move off the top rope where they just jump and then get caught with a big boot by the person lying on the floor. Ricochet would never just do a generic move like this. He would do like a 450 splash. Why would Ricochet jump off the top rope and land on both feet just to get booted in the face? I hate when they do this. It looks so scripted. I think it makes sense if it's like a bigger guy like a Kane or Undertaker where they would jump off the top rope, like old school or, double axe handle, boom, good night, into the dome. But yeah, I hate when people do this. Ricochet wins. Out comes Will Ospreay. Yeah, bruv. And then they're hyping up that these two have wrestled in Japan and all these other shite companies. If you remember, Ricochet and Ospreay have interacted with each other plenties of times on Twitter. Nerds are creaming their pants about the thought of getting this match. Well, Pac comes out and says, no, you're not getting him. Ricochet, you're back of the line. Does this like Hurricane Rana. Cracks his dome. Who knows? Absolutely brutal here. What the hell is going on? Marina Safir is here to hip toss a bunch of people, she says. John Moxley's caught by a cameraman and he tosses a security guard to one side and he storms. Daniel Bryan comes out. The crowd here is absolutely dead. There's about 10 people in the crowd. Daniel Bryan comes out. He's trying to hype them up. He's like, my family want me to retire. I won the belt. He says it was the happiest moment in his career, the best moment in his career. He can say whatever he wants, but end of the day, is it the best moment of his career? I mean, his family were out there. I'm not going to bury him. I mean, maybe I thought the WrestleMania moment was a wee bit better, but yeah, that's what I think. Daniel Bryan's his own man. He can think what he wants, but then he's like, you know what? I'm not retiring. I'm going to be the best champion's ever been. Jack Perry then appeared on the Titantron and essentially said, right, I want you, Daniel. I want you. I want you. And then Perry attacks Danielson from behind. Right, so let's discuss this. I've seen people on Twitter say AEW's got the best wrestler roster of all time, and this is the match they're giving us. Two things with that, right? See Jack Perry, I think he sucks. But let's not pretend that him against Daniel Bryan is the worst thing this company could do. There's a lot worse than what they could do, right? But to portray, imagine saying that this is the best wrestling roster of all time, but your problem is Jack Perry getting a title shot against Daniel Bryan. How fucking brain dead you must be to actually think this is the best wrestling roster of all time. Honestly, it's not even the best roster AEW's fucking had, man. Let alone the history of wrestling. But fans, this show's been getting buried, and I think it's been getting buried mainly due to the fact that John Moxley has teased some form of like NWO takeover with Shane McMahon. And they don't like that. They just like their own flippy dippy shit. As soon as they try and push the envelope with sports entertainment, they don't like it. You can have jobbers from Mexico and Japan threaten takeovers, but seeing you have Shane McMahon, a guy with actual fucking name value, by the way, not these diddy men for Japan, that's when they lose the plot. Anyway, it's got me intrigued. I'll give Dynamite a 3. You take the John Moxley stuff out, I thought it was just fucking crap, man. It's just a bunch of matches that no one cares about, and then Daniel Bryan doing the inevitable here by not retiring. Anyway, 3 out of 10. That's your Dynamite review. Peace.